So you can see why people are having troubles with the plant-based diet.
Right.
We have disconnected ourselves from Mother Nature and her ways, and only a fool would do that.
Hey everyone, this is Gary, the vegan carburetor, and I'm back for a quick video, hopefully. But I found this clip of Dan just today, and it fit in with this video. And as you'll see in the clip, he just gives me too much stuff to commentate on. It reminds me of the old days, 2015, 14, when I was doing regular videos critiquing his crazy antics. That became a series called the DTM Recommentator. I got a whole playlist on that. I'll put that in the description below. But this all started a few days back when I got a comment on my channel. Here is the post by Sega Days. Never heard of him. And he said, "Vegan carburetor, in a study by Dr. August Dunning, a scientist at Eco Organics, it was found that one apple contained 4.3 milligrams of iron in 1950 and 0.18 milligrams in 1998. I'll just read the whole thing first. This means that in 98, you would need to eat 25 more apples to get the same amount of iron, yada yada yada, in 1950. Data presented in the 1992 Rio Summit showed," there's a key word there, red flag word, "data presented that mineral levels in farmed soils had depleted by 85% in North America, 76% in Asia. Similar figures, rest of the world. Can be expected? Really? Why?" The way first world countries do things is much more depleting than the old school methods used by third world countries. Imagine how much more depleted it is now. With the amount you eat, you're not getting any minerals. I wanted to wait till the end to give my viewpoint, but that's basically it right there. Well, he wraps it up with something derogatory, but go ahead and keep thinking that the farms of today are looking out for your health. Wow, I never said that. I never said that. Okay, so now I will critique this and correct all of the flaws and myths and poor logic. The kind of stuff I've been criticizing the whole time here in my 6 years on YouTube. First sentence right there, red flag. In a study. You know my position on studies, and you can see why I have that position. This was a study. All right. Now you got to ask, who's doing this study, and what kind of study, what plants were they using, where were they from? Now, I don't have to go and look up the study to be able to debunk it, or at least debunk the problems here, the logic. Studies are limited. Yes, it is true that many soils have been depleted, but you can't just say soil, because there's different farms and different places that have different practices. Now, back in the 90s, I remember the 90s very well. It's the decade I went vegetarian and vegan, high fruit. I was paying a lot of attention. And I would say that studies like this were probably done in the 90s, because at that point it was well known that there was a big problem with depletion. But since that time, 20 years ago, there's some farms and scientists out there that were working on this problem. And also around that time, organic farming started to grow, and now it's pretty big. And the way they farm is more sustainable and creates more nutrients in the soil. Another thing here is that just because an apple contained a certain amount of nutrients back in 1950 does not mean you actually need that amount of nutrients. He's making that assumption here, jumping to that conclusion, and that's faulty logic. So when he says, imagine how depleted it is now, it's probably less depleted, especially for organic food. He actually goes on to say, I'm not getting any minerals. That's pretty crazy when you consider all the fruits and vegetables I'm eating. Well, most people are eating the depleted diet. Not only do they eat a bunch of packaged stuff, refined wheat, hardly any fruits and vegetables where you find the high levels of vitamins and minerals. But let's get to animal products now. See, this person here, he posted another comment about eating sustainably raised animals. So he's basically saying, you can't be a vegan because depletion of soil. Well, here's where I say, well, what do you think the farm animals are eating? Not only are they eating food from the same depleted soils, actually they're not. They're eating food from even worse soils. And they can use pesticide that's illegal to use for plants that would be fed to humans. So for all you meat eaters out there, your meat is even more depleted than the food that I'm eating. So it's all depleted, but you take something like lettuce that was super high in minerals, it's still got a fair amount of minerals in it, especially something like kale, especially organic. Now let's get to Dan, the LifeRegenerator, who made an appearance in a fully RawKristina video just today. This came up, I saw some of it, and it fits in perfect here with this video. Dan said almost the exact same thing as this anti-vegan said. Oh, let's get into this.
Let's touch on it just really quickly, because a lot of people think, okay, well, if you're raw or vegan, you're automatically healthy because you've eliminated meat and dairy from your diet, correct?
Meat and dairy.
Yes.
Right, correct, but not anymore.
Right, that's not correct. And it never was correct. It's not all just about animal products. The reason humans should not be eating animal products and that they're bad for us is because they're unnatural for us. They're not for us. And neither are nuts, Dan, or eggs, and even grains that I eat. They're not meant for us. So you don't want to eat too much of those foods. Now, at first I thought Dan was saying, not anymore, like as of last year, when half of YouTube went ex-vegan. That was a marketing trend. But what I'm not understanding here is, how come I have been doing just fine over here, and the two of them, they're also vegans long term. They're not having problems. So this is confusing. Let's see what they say next.
Not anymore.
But not anymore, and you're saying because there's so many chemicals and pesticides in conventional produce and in vegetables and things like that, and maybe not even just produce, but grains, wheat, and things like that, that would actually really mess with the microbiome.
Yeah.
With what's going on in somebody's stomach.
Well, it's really not even a matter of it's not even a matter of vegan versus carnivore or any of that we see anymore these days, but it's more of are you eating food that's poison?
And if you think the plants are poisoned, imagine the farm animals who eat those plants for years, collecting it in their flesh. You may want to see my video connecting meat eating with autism, which got a lot of thumbs down. But scientists themselves are saying that autism can partly be caused by all of these chemicals in our environment.
They began to just put very small amounts of synthetic petroleum-based fertilizers in the soil.
Right.
And so the plants are weak. And so, an apple these days has about 1/50th of the nutritional content as an apple did in the 1930s. So you can see why people are having troubles with the plant-based diet.
Right.
The only way that I can see us pulling out of this in any way, shape, or form, because there has never been a vegan society on Earth. Well, there has been the Essenes, but they were very small. It's a narrow road, but there's also never been a carnivorous society either. And so we all have these delusions of grandeur.
Oh, Dan. Speaking of delusions of grandeur, he was just reminding me of vegetable police. The way he just talks just out his ass, just hypothesizing just all over the place where he can't even finish a sentence.
Really, the human species was omnivorous, and we've adapted to be able to adapt to many, many different situations. If we were smart, we would have nutrient-rich soil with microbes and worms and rock dust and different soil amendments. So that soil would be just vibrating with life, and the plants popping off of that soil would be just zzz, and the plant immune system would be incredibly high. And those high vibrational plants would send out a frequency into the local environment, attracting microbes to those plants, and then
Oh, this is interesting. He is sounding a little like myself, talking with pro-vaccination people. I should say I'm not anti-vax, I'm in the middle. I just think that the anti-vax people are being scapegoated as the only cause for this measles outbreak. But there's other factors. Human immune systems are in the toilet, people, and this is one of the reasons. There wasn't meant to be these massive die-offs. Nature is on our side. So that's it. It seemed like they never did explain why they think this is a vegan issue. This video didn't have a clickbait title, but this was found in the video here. Yeah, vegans have some problems, not due to veganism, but so does everybody else. All these pills, new pill coming out for ED dysfunction, those aren't all the vegans out there they're marketing to. All these health epidemics isn't because everybody's going vegan. So back to me. What have I been doing right all these 24 years? Well, I don't just buy conventional produce. As I mentioned, I eat some organic. I also shop at many different places, farmers markets, you should definitely get into, and other smaller stores. I also do some foraging, and I've done a little gardening here and there, and I'm going to be picking that up again. And that's coming up soon in a video. So subscribe for the future of veganism. You're going to see it here. And turn your notifications on to get reminded when I make a video.